nothing to that. And Emmett Till begged us not to tell our grandfather what happened, and we didn't.
Our neighbor, Ruther May Crawford, she told us that we was going to hear some more about that. And I didn't think nothing of it, because I'd never heard of anything like that before.
3 days had gone by, and this girl told us, Ruth told us, hey, you guys are going to hear some more about this.
We had heard this colored man said that they was going to get him. That's how we knew to go back to tell Mose right. To take the boys to Grenada to the train station, put them on the train. He didn't do it.
So actually we forgot about it. We were 16, 12, 13, 14, 16 years old. So we went to Greenwood.
We all said, well, we're going to town. We had picked some cotton and made some chain, and my older brother said, well, I'm going to take y'all to Greenwood.
I carried them all to Greenwood, bought them a little wine, around 12 or 12:30, I brought them back out.
Then about 2:30 in the morning, thereabout, I could hear people outside talking, and they talking about Emmett, and they talking about the boy from Chicago. They didn't say Emmett. They said there's a fat boy from Chicago, and they told my grandfather they wanted to talk to him.
I looked out the windows just like daylight, and I said, my Lord, I said, look at the cars. But I didn't know where he was going. So at the time, I could see this black man get out of the car, went to the back, and the white went to the front.
This is Mose Wright. I am the uncle of Emmett Louis Till. Sunday morning, about 2:30, someone called at the door. And I said, who is it? And he said, this is Mr. Bryant. I want to talk with you and the boy. And when I opened the door, there was a man standing with a pistol in one hand and a flashlight in the other hand. And he asked me, did I have two boys there from Chicago? I told him I have. And he said, I want the boy that done all that talk.
So they came to my room first, and they had a pistol in one hand, a flashlight in the other, and they looked on me and Maurice, who's in bed with me, and they recognized that Maurice or myself, we weren't the one that they were looking for. So they passed on through the house to the third room where Emmett was in the bed with Simi.
So we marched on around through 2 rooms, and I found the boy in the 3rd room in the bed with my baby boy.
I hear this noise in the bedroom, and I look up and I see this Roy Bryant. I knew him. And I saw the other tall, bald-headed man. They was hollering and fussing. They told me to lay back down and go to sleep. But I kept my eyes open and saw what was going on, that they was going to take Emmett. And at that point, I didn't know where they was going to take him. I said, well, maybe they're going to take him home. They
aroused him out of the bed, and I don't think he really knew what was going on. So he was answering their question, but he wasn't saying yes, sir, and no, sir. So they became irate about that. And they started cursing and swearing. And I think he wanted to put on his socks or something with his shoes. And it was a terrifying experience. He had no idea what was going on, really. Yeah, had no idea the kind of people that he was dealing with, he was faced with. He had no way of conceiving what the South was like, no kind of way. In the room, my mom, she offered them money not to take the boy, and that's when Roy kind of hesitated. But Marlon wouldn't have nothing of it. He had made up his mind. He was the one with the gun. He had a .45 in his hand, and he was calling the shots. And he claimed that he was just going to take him up the road and just whip him and turn him loose. That's what he said he was going to do. They were telling my grandfather if he's not the one, they was going to bring him back. And they left. And after they left, nobody said anything to anybody.
And they marched him to the car, and they asked someone there, was this is the right boy? And the answer was, years, and they drove toward money.
After they left, Mama was very upset. And Daddy was walking around, all he could say is, he was saying, that's all he could say.
I do know that you don't whistle at a white woman in Mississippi. And I was praying that they didn't kill him. I wasn't going to kill him, just maybe torture him a little bit and bring a kid back to his grandfather.
When I'm laying there in the bed, waiting for them to bring him back. Every car that I would hear coming down the road, I thought it was them bringing him back. But then when it began to get turned towards dawn, I knew they weren't going to bring him back.
I know one thing, he was sad. That was the saddest day I ever seen in my life. Ooh, Lord, that was sad. I felt for Bobo, Mama. I really did. Everybody down that road cried.
Mose Wright knocked on the door and said they're taking my boy. Well, I told him we could go and look for him. We went up to Munnins and we come back. And then Mose told me, ain't nothing else we could do. Just sit and wait.
I was sound asleep at 9:30. And I guess I slept about a couple hours. And it was Willie Mae telling me that those men had come and taken Bo away from my uncle's house, her father's house.
As I was walking, I saw a green 1955 Chevrolet truck. And I saw, which there was five people. There was really five people. And there was two Tay Collin, Herbert, and I'm sure it was Emmett Till, and the Marlon and Bryant, they was in the cab of this truck. And so as I go up, before I could get to the barn, I could hear this beating, and I could hear this crying, I could hear this beating, I could hear this crying. So I kept walking. Then I had to go up and see, walked up and told Miss Mandy about it. I said, Miss Mandy, I said, I said, they beating somebody in that barn. So she said, I'll tell you one thing what we do. So let's walk back up that way. So me and Miss Mandy, which we did, we came back up there. And there was a well there, and I turned the well on, and I'm going to get me some water. At that time, I could look. I can see J.W. Marlon came up. He had a green shirt on, khaki pants, and a 45 on his side. So he asked me, did you hear anything? I said, did you hear anything? I said, no. I said, I didn't hear anything. A human being just being beat by white folks like this here, by beaten by this, Even maybe some of the black brothers could have been in there, because I know I saw them on the truck, but I didn't see them at all after they got in that barn. The only thing I saw was that truck. Could have been them. And just by going, listen to it, it's something, it's really something. It hurts you. You don't forget. These things I will never forget.
The night of Emmett Till murder, which we didn't know he had been murdered that night, in the middle of the night, my sister and I was lying up in the window trying to get some air, and we saw this fire in a barrel in back of J.W.'s house. And we woke our parents up. And my father walked out the back door and stood on the porch and he came back in and said there was a fire at J.W. Marlon house in the barrel. They was burning something up.
The sheriff came and told me they had found the body at Philip.